It's been a long time since I've been as excited to write something as I am writing Tears of the Undead. I haven't had this much motivation towards a short film since Conclusions. Alright, welcome along to a new video. Been off for about a week now from uploads, and it has been a tasty week. I'm not gonna lie, had a lot of fun. About a week ago, thereabouts, I couldn't sleep that well, so I got into editing a script that I was working on quite a while ago now. Let me just check the date on this. This was a script called Doomsday. Keep it in this little folder here. I like to try and keep things as organised as I can when it comes to this, because I tend to start a lot of stuff and get like a rough idea down, and I could sit to that for a long time and then move on to what I like to call the vomit pass, which other people would probably call the first pass or the first draft, or even, but this is like before the first draft. It is the vomit pass. It is the idea in your head, and you just kind of write it down. You don't worry about any kind of structure or anything at that point. Usually you've got to start, middle and end, and then you just kind of sit down with I'm old school, straight on the paper, and I just start writing, and start off at the beginning, of course, and just aim for that middle section and just let it come as natural as it feels when I'm doing it, and then hit that middle, try to get to the end if I can. And sometimes you write yourself into a corner, which is what happened with this script here. So this was Doomsday, this one was called, and it went to, I started this in, wow, 2021, May 2021, May 18th 2021, and I finished it on the 26th of February 2022. So it took quite a while to get through to 68 pages when I wrote myself into a corner. Essentially, I love this script, Doomsday, and I can't really give much away in this one, because it's one of these ideas where I kind of just let myself off the leash. Whenever you're an indie creator doing YouTube and all that sort of stuff, there's no money involved, there's no huge budgets involved, especially when it comes to like indie film type projects. So you tend to normally write things that can be easily done. You've got an idea of somewhere you could shoot a short film, so you write that into it, and people that, friends that could help you out, all that sort of stuff. Just everything that can be grabbed hold of easy. That's what you tend to write whenever you're doing indie stuff in the beginning. So I made a decision quite a few years back. I haven't done an indie project in a long time as far as short films goes. So I just gave myself permission to start a few projects, write a few things, that just let myself off the hook of budget way. So just this here is, how can I describe it? I can't really describe it because I haven't got an ending to it yet. I've got to probably the middle section of it, and at 68 pages I realised that there's a group of people that I want to bring into the story, and everything up to that 68 pages is a lot of setting up, putting things into motion and whatnot, getting characters into places they need to be in the storyline to get hold of. I could say this much: it's two agents, kind of like a Mulder and Scully X-Files sort of thing. They are investigators, but not FBI or anything like that. There, just I want to use a name that's kind of just, a neutral sort of a name. So they work for what you call the firm. So they're after this guy in this film that is an antique stealer, and there's everything he's doing seems to be within the law, and if you look, if they investigate deep enough, the main investigator in this, he is seeing this guy's bigger than Amazon, let's just say. So this guy is seeing that there's the supply chain, there's something wrong with the supply chain and the antiques that this guy can get hold of. And the quality of them are the best quality of antiques that anybody has ever seen. So he thinks there's something wrong. He's trying to investigate him, and there is a group. That doesn't sound, saying that there, and you hear the name Doomsday, doesn't sound like your apocalyptic movie that you'd think of a film called Doomsday. But there is a group in this that I want to bring into it. That I got to 68 pages and I realised that the setup to this group of characters coming into it was going to just take far too long to integrate them into what's going on in the film up to this point. But this guy does have a private army, and this group of characters is another well known army, let's just say. And yeah, so I kind of want to, instead of trying to bring this group in, can I work out a way in the script for that to have already happened? So you're kind of coming into it within the action, let's just say. Too much setup is the problem with that script there. So there, big, thick, 68 pages worth of vomit pass. And yes, if you can see right here, there's a lot of red writing involved right there. So on into it, started to edit, sat and read through the script again. And I have to say now, not to blow a lot of sunshine up my backside, but if you've seen any of my short film projects up to this point, the dialogue and them hasn't been great. But going back and looking at the script again, I actually have to say I've really surprised myself in the dialogue in this one. It's fairly dialogue heavy compared to any of the other stuff that I've done before. And even the kind of like the relationship between the two main investigators on here, as I say, took big inspiration from the X-Files and the Mulder and Scully storyline and the romance that was brewing between them. So you kind of have that in here as well. Not very much in your face, but it is there. But yeah, it's huge. It is actually huge, because there's a whole section in this vomit pass up to this point where we're going to have to get a helicopter to pull it off, and a big helicopter at that point, not your like little 2-3 seater sort of a job, but something with a little bit of a size to it. So like, as I say, not worrying about budget when it came to Doomsday here, just having a bit of fun with it. But if it ever happens, it's going to be damn tasty. But it's finishing off that script now and getting to, you know, how we're going to play it out, because it's a huge idea, and they just pulling it off would be damn near impossible without an actual movie sized budget. And it's never going to happen, let's just be honest at this point. But why should you let yourself stop just because you think it's impossible? You know, you never know what's going to happen as you work through. And yeah, so that was going on, and a few nights later I was pretty tired and starting to show my age here, starting to fall asleep earlier in the evenings. It was around 8:30. I think it was like a Sunday evening, and I was getting, the idea this week past was to get into doing the usual content for this channel, but shattered. So I decided I'm going to lie down early tonight, get an early night's sleep. So it was like 8:30, 9 o'clock, something like that. Fell asleep, had a dream, and bounced up again out of my sleep at about midnight, just before midnight, and started writing one more time. So I come up with, I've said before on the channel here, if you've been following the little bit of content that I've been doing as far as indie film goes, dreams can be a great source of inspiration for short films. So I came up with this idea, and it's called, just to put it out there, because this is I'm going to have to actually do something to save this title here. I was going to call it Tears of the Vampire, but there is a novel series based or called Tears of the Vampire, so I'm going to call this Tears of the Undead. So I started this on Tuesday, July 30th, 2024, and essentially all the dream was, uh, and I don't know where it came from. People say your dreams have meanings, and I completely agree with that. They can have a hell of a lot of meanings, but this one here, I just can't work it out, because essentially it was just a very, very short dream. And what was happening in it was, there was this old woman, and she was on her deathbed, and she was like, there's she was getting her last rites read to her. So the priest, minister, pastor, whatever you want to call him, reading out from the Bible and whatnot, doing all that sort of stuff, waiting for her to pass. And in the background, outside the bay windows of this bedroom, there was this dark figure standing, and you could see the fangs in his mouth, clearly a vampire, but he had a tear rolling down his cheek. That was it. That's all the dream was. And again, what's the meaning in that? No idea. I should actually look that up or ask somebody about it. So I jumped out of bed at around midnight, heading up for work in the morning. And what I do in that case is, I've got this little folder right here, and this is coming down with ideas. Usually I'd write out that sheet there, just not even half a sheet, just a basic outline of the dream, what I seen, what feelings I got out of it. So I jotted that down, and then I took a couple of nights this week just to step away from making any content whatsoever, and just started writing a vomit pass on Tears of the Undead. And I have hit, at this point, as I say, the vomit pass and this sort of thing, you don't really do structure on it. You just kind of start it off in a way that makes sense, work your way through to the middle point, get yourself towards the end point. Now I have got a good ending to this, and this is one of these ones that I could feel could be done for relatively cheap. So I am actually at this point considering actually getting online, calling about a few of the people that were helping out back in the days of conclusions and that, just to see if they're still up for doing any indie project, see if I can get anybody interested in it. But I'm very far from a finished script right here. I've got the vomit pass sitting at probably, I didn't really do a count on it. I think I'm up around, let me just check here. Yeah, we're at 39 pages there, but that's going to go through about 10 different changes. There's a few, I've distilled the idea out from the beginning, middle and end, but it can be done better. It can be done better. It's going to change a heck of a lot. So the vomit pass for that's done. I'm going to take about a week, 2 weeks off now from writing. Let it sit there, come back to it with fresh eyes. Best thing you can do whenever you're writing something is don't try and blather your way through it. Take your time, get it right, and we'll get that first draft done, and then we'll leave it another couple of weeks, come back again, go into that second draft. The one thing you never want to do, and a lot of people fall for it, is they get that first draft done and they think this is fantastic. They run out and start shooting it. Most of the times, it doesn't turn out to be the tastiest version of a short film project that they probably could have done. But it is what it is. So I'm thinking probably by the end of the year I'll have something workable with Tears of the Undead. There's a sequence in the short film that I have to say now, I'm very, very shocked and surprised that I wrote it, because I've got a great imagination, always did, probably always will, never grew up And like I was one of these early 80s kids that, Christmas morning would roll around, you get your Christmas presents in there, and I'd be the kid that would be having as much fun with the packaging and the cardboard boxes that the presents came in, and instead of just the presents themselves. So the imagination was always there, and I've never really lost it. So like I was standing at work all week, and I've gone through like two or three, like before even putting pen to paper here. Like I think I've gone through two, maybe three variations of the script just while I'm standing at work. Get into autopilot and you start rolling it around in your head and having a lot of fun with it. Not gonna lie, but there's this sequence within the movie where the old woman, of course, that I've seen in the dream, the vampire, of course, these are the two main characters within it, really. And there's a beautiful moment between the two of them where it's one of these ideas where the film's going to be aiming towards one thing happening, and you're fully expecting it to happen, and you get right up to the point where it's about to happen, and then you get a little bit of a twist there that on the vampire side, it's just, I don't know, that's beautiful. I have to say it now. I just in my mind, it's it's unreal. It's unbelievable. I think it's a really, really good idea, and probably already been done. But if it has been done, I've never seen it. But we'll play about with it, see how we get on with it. But if I can pull this off, this little section here that I have rolling about in the back of my mind at the moment, if we can pull that off in a short film, that's going to look good on camera, and the visual. If I can actually manage to pull the visual off that I've actually got in my mind, it's going to look unreal, and I think it might pull on a few heartstrings. So we'll just see what happens. But that's where I've been at. That's what I've been doing. Having quite a bit of fun with it. And I'm not going to lie, it's been a long time since I've been as excited to write something as I am writing Tears of the Undead. I haven't had this much motivation towards a short film since Conclusions. And that's been a long time ago now. So I'm excited to get back into it at some point. But we're not going to stop the other stuff on this channel. We're going to get motivating again this week. All been well. So that's what I'm doing. So we're back. Hopefully we'll be getting the daily uploads going again here. And we'll see what happens. So thanks for checking out this episode, guys. Hope you're keeping well. And until the next one, stay safe. And I'll talk to you all then.